The justly celebrated American cemetery at Colleville-sur-Mer on the Normandy coast, with its magnificent colonnade and its upspringing bronze statue, is not the only World War II cemetery in the United States and coastal France. In Brittany, there is another, St. James, some 75 miles southwest of the Colleville site. Here lie the remains of the 4,410 who fell during Patton's breakthrough at the end of July 1944. They are interred with the same great respect and expressions of gratitude as those accorded the 9,386 at Colleville, less publicized than the round limestone shrine of the cemetery above Omaha Beach. The granite of the Romanesque chapel and steeple at St. James is in keeping with the farming countryside of Brittany and was constructed with stone from quarries nearby. The entrance, too, is defined in sober granite. Piers support a wrought iron gate in a low stone wall, and a gently curved paved path leads to the back of the chapel, where there is a limestone statue of a mounted warrior armed with a spear that threatens a dragon. It is called Youth Triumphing Over Evil. On the granite pedestal below it is inscribed, "I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith." The front end of the chapel is capped by a 99-foot tower with a lookout platform at the 63-foot level. From it, you can see many of the gravestones. Some are hidden by trees. The linear spaces between blocks of crosses make it possible to distinguish a number of the 16 blocks that comprise the cemetery. As you see in this sketch, all but the farthest four are quadrilaterals with slightly divergent sides. At the base of the tower is the entrance to the chapel. The arch tympanum above the doorway is inscribed, "In memory of the valor and the sacrifices which consecrate this soil." Above the tympanum is a sculpture group in high relief. The central portion is a stonework version of the Great Seal of the United States of America, with an eagle, a shield, stars, and laurel leaves. On either side of the shield are floating angels. The one on the left, wearing the Columbian cap, is in mourning. In her right hand she holds the laurel of the brave, and in her left the palm frond of sacrifice. The angel on the right is a triumphant, chainmail-clad Victory, holding a sword and trumpet. The dark red double door with its ornate hinges is a shiny, varnished brown inside. Above it, in a round window, is a stained glass version of the Schaeff Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force insignia that I wore on the left shoulder of my blouse in 1944-45. The rainbow above the flaming sword patch was ubiquitous in Paris then. In a small room to the right of the antechamber is a stained glass window depicting St. James the Greater of Compostela. In that room, too, is this dedicatory plaque. Its message is identical to that of a larger inscription on the wall of the loggia at Colleville. 1941-1945, in proud remembrance of the achievements of her sons and in humble tribute to their sacrifices, this memorial has been erected by the United States of America. The entrance to the museum room and chapel is austere but impressive, with a stylized bronze torch and wreath above an unadorned rectangle cut into the tall arch. Once inside the long room, the flags of many of the components of our military services make a colorful display that lightens the starkness of the granite of the arched ceiling. Between the flags are rectangular embrasures that house stained glass windows, displaying the coats of arms of 8 of the French towns liberated by the Allied forces. Here are the coats of arms, the blasons, of 7 of the 8. And below them, both walls are enlivened by large maps in colored concrete. One, the breakout from the beachhead and advance to the Seine. The other, a map of military operations in Western Europe. On either side of these large maps are explanations in English and French of what they portray, along with 3 smaller insets on either wall: the war against Germany and the war against Japan. The chapel at the far end of the long room is set above the floor of the museum and is separated from it by a stairway and low walls flanking wrought iron gates. On these dividers is inscribed a prayer, half of it on each panel. O Lord, support us all the day long until the shadows lengthen and our work is done. Then in thy mercy grant us a safe lodging and peace at the last. The limestone altar of the chancel supports a golden Latin cross and 2 candlesticks. High above the altar is a large stained glass rendition of the Great Seal of the United States of America. On its perimeter are 6 circular stained glass panels, each with 3 stars. Above the seal, in the arc of the arch supporting the roof, is an extract from the Bible. In the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord. And above this quotation is an arrangement of large bronze stars. At the other end of the hall, above the entrance door, hang gold-fringed flags of the United States, Great Britain, and France. They surmount and accentuate the proud message below them: duty, honor, country, the motto of the West Point Military Academy. On the wall to the left of the flags is a large tablet on which is inscribed a prayer that President Franklin Roosevelt offered on D-Day. It is posted here and reminds us all of the nation's resolve on that momentous day. On the right is another tablet, an extract from General Eisenhower's final report to the combined chiefs of staff, a tribute to the valor and steadfastness of our fighting men. In the low, rolling landscape of the French countryside, the choice of a memorial to our fallen in the form of a Romanesque church with a tall tower is most fitting, for country churches of the same granite are scattered throughout Brittany, some with bell towers. The grounds are maintained in perfect order, as these snaps of the central mall show. The location of the wall of the missing, inscribed with the names of 498 soldiers and sailors whose remains were not found, is shown in green on this map. As you see, it is in 2 long segments separated by the memorial building. Flowers add greatly to its continuity. In the preparation of this movie, I was aided by a photograph sent me by the superintendent of the St. James Cemetery to To him and to the American Battle Monuments Commission, my warmest thanks.